Welcome back to the channel. Something that has been on my mind lately is how child gambling is basically legal with things like loot crates. We have essentially legalized gambling to children. But before any of those loot boxes existed, there was an even better way to gamble if you were a child. And if you were like me, you lived through the golden age of child gambling at Chuck E. Cheese. You know, Chuck E. Cheese, you'd go there for some kid's 5th birthday party. A very creepy person wearing a mouse costume would come out and greet your table and tell you happy birthday. You would eat pizza that is primarily sugar and cheese. And then you would run around with $20 of your parents' money and gamble your way to earning back a $3 prize from the prize counter. You know, Chuck E. Cheese. Anyway, there's some really good, and by really good I mean really bad reviews of Chuck E. Cheese from around the country. Let me read you one right now from our friend LRH7792661. It's a beautiful name. This company is horrible. They refuse to allow a family to have a cancer-free party for their child, stating they only book birthday parties. I think their policy is ridiculous, and I, nor any of my friends or family, will no longer give our business to this place. So I just want you to imagine that you are 9 years old, and you've been struggling with leukemia for years. Since you were 4 years old, you were diagnosed with leukemia. You've been fighting this cancer battle. For all of your waking memory, you've been fighting leukemia. You finally defeat cancer with the help of doctors, with the help of your family, with the help of modern medicine. Cancer is gone from your body. You're 9 years old. Your parents are like, we would love to celebrate you. What can we do to celebrate you? You say, I want to go to Chuck E. Cheese. I want to gamble. And the only way I can gamble as a child legally is by going to Chuck E. Cheese. I would love to go to Chuck E. Cheese and throw a party with me and my friends because I'm now cancer-free. Very admirable. Your parents then call Chuck E. Cheese to book this party because you just defeated cancer as a 9-year-old. And the person on the other end of the line says, oh, we only do birthday parties. I don't know how much more tone deaf you can be as a company than to not throw a child a cancer-free party. Every company in America, if you get a call from a kid who wants to have a party there because they just beat cancer, you should find a way to do that. I don't care if it's Men's Wearhouse and the kid is like, I want to have a cancer-free party at Men's Wearhouse. Somebody needs to accommodate that kid. Okay, next up, it's a little bit more lighthearted from here on out. That one was very serious. I'm so sorry. Christie is up next, and Christie says this. The food made us very sick, and the bathrooms were dirty. I spent $130 on 2 adults, 1 8-year-old that got to play for maybe 30 minutes. Then after we were done, he didn't even get a prize for his tickets. I wouldn't waste my money again or tell anyone to. The experience was so bad. So you take your kid to Chuck E. Cheese. You spend $130 for 3 people to eat food, to play, I'm hoping, unlimited games at that price. The food is so disgusting and unsanitary, it immediately makes you violently ill as a parent. And you guys both now have to go, both parents are in the bathroom getting violently sick. And I just imagine that the kid is kind of coming to check in every now and then. And the parents are like, in between throwing up, they like puke and they're like, did you win any tickets? And they puke again and they're like, what game did you just play? They puke again and they're like, okay, come back and check in with us in 5 minutes. And this is a terrible, terrible, vicious cycle of vomiting while their kid runs back and forth to check in with them. And the kid has to like avoid stranger danger. The kid has to avoid being in the line of fire from the vomit. There's just a lot going on for $130. Does not seem worth it at all. Okay, next up, Thomas says this, and it's a phrase that I've never heard in my entire life. They recycle their pizza, which has the chance of contaminating other pizzas where the child's immune system is dangerous. I would rather have my child's birthday party anywhere else but there. Trust me. Now look, I am all for being eco-friendly. If you ask anyone that I know, I love the earth more than anybody has ever loved the earth in the history of time. Every tree that I pass on the sidewalk, I give a warm embrace to that tree. I am a literal tree hugger. That being said, Recycling, big priority for me. One thing I don't currently recycle is pizza. And I'd like to know how this is possible. You know, when you take cardboard and recycle it, I imagine they break down the cardboard into a component and then they can make more cardboard out of it or something like that. But how do you do that with a pizza? How do you break down a pizza into its base components to reassemble other pizzas? Anyway, Chuck E. Cheese is very ahead of its time in recycling their pizzas, and I would love to know more about that process so that I can also recycle my pizzas. Because again, this earth means more to me than my own life. It means more to me than the lives of my family. I would happily sacrifice my entire extended family and immediate family if it would only save 2 trees. That's how much I love the earth. That's how much I'm committed to ecology. Please, Chuck E. Cheese, reach out so I can also recycle my pizza. Next up, Holden says this. This place is completely awful. I went there with my kid and wife, and it was so overpriced, and all of the employees were really mean, and we waited 1 hour for our food. After our food arrived, the pizza looked undercooked. Almost half the games didn't work, and the games that did work would not give us our tickets. Overall, not good service, not good environment, and not good food. Never coming here again. Now, that's a pretty standard 1-star review from Holden. There's nothing super exceptional there. It is kind of a bummer that you paid for your kids to gamble and they couldn't even get tickets out of the machines. That feels like the system is rigged a little bit in favor of the house, but I'm going to leave that be. What makes this review special is the 2 pictures that he attaches, because he mentions that the pizza is undercooked. So he attaches this picture of an undercooked pizza. And yeah, that looks undercooked. Looks a lot like the Little Caesars pizzas that we saw reviewed in another video that we did. But then I guess he complained that it was undercooked. And being that the employees are mostly teenagers, they then swung the pendulum from undercooked to this picture that he attaches afterward of a very overcooked pizza. You can just imagine the 14-year-old in the back is like, oh, that pizza is a little bit undercooked. Well, I only left it in for 5 minutes. Maybe we should, just to be safe, leave the next one in for 45 minutes. That's how you get the hour timeline, and then that's how you get this really overcooked pizza as well. You know, I work with a guy who didn't really know how to cook, and this is how I imagine this Chuck E. Cheese employee. And he was starting work for the first time, needing to come up with how he cooks at home instead of just going out every meal. And so what he did is he put his oven at 450 degrees. He then put a raw chicken breast in the oven, no seasoning, no oil, nothing. And he let that thing cook for an hour and a half thinking, well, worst case, it will certainly be cooked. He didn't look up a recipe. He didn't look up conventional wisdom. He didn't text anybody, how do you make a chicken breast? He just put a chicken breast in the oven at 450 for an hour and a half. And that thing was burnt to a crisp by the time it was done. Next up, Benjamin says this. The food is inedible because they dump a 1/4 cup of salt on everything. And the prices are ridiculous. It's a shame they feed such unhealthy food to children. So there are 2 things I want to note from this review. One, what's more unhealthy than the food they're serving children is the gambling pattern they're serving children. Because children then grow up to buy loot boxes, they then grow up to sports bet. The sports betting market is like ruining the financial future of this country, whatever. That's one thing I want you to know. The second thing I want you to note is the amount of salt that he claims they are adding to everything that they serve you. And so I'm going to just show you a quick visual. So let's roll this. This is what a 1/4 cup of salt looks like put onto a food item. Okay, it is a lot of pouring of the salt. There is so much salt in a 1/4 cup. I will do some math in the editing and tell you what your daily percent of salt would be relative to a 1/4 cup, how much that is times the daily amount that you should have. And then I want to just show you what it looks like to dump a 1/4 cup of salt on a food item. If Chuck E. Cheese is doing this, they need to stop because actually that is more unhealthy than the gambling patterns. Next up, we have a bit of a conspiracy. And Corey says this. Do not order from Pasquale's Pizza and Wings on DoorDash. Chuck E. Cheese is selling food under that fake name. This should be illegal. This Chuck E. Cheese is just looking for new ways to bring in revenue, and they're like, hey, nobody's going to order on DoorDash from Chuck E. Cheese, but if we call it Pasquale's Pizza and Wings, maybe somebody will buy some. Looks like people are buying it, and then it must have come, I guess they probably weren't very good at covering up the fact that they were Chuck E. Cheese. If somebody ordered from Pasquale's Pizza and Wings, then it came in a box that said Chuck E. Cheese on it, I would be upset too. So Chuck E. Cheese, you gotta, if you're gonna commit to the ghost kitchen, you gotta get separate boxes from the Chuck E. Cheese. Otherwise, if you had a separate box, this guy just found out because he had eaten Chuck E. Cheese pizza so much that he was like, well, this is just freaking Chuck E. Cheese. Next up, we have the Sultan. It takes 24,554,334 hours to get your food. And in case you didn't know, I was a math minor in college, so let me break this down for you. That number of hours is 1,023,097 days to get your food, or 146,156 weeks to get your food. Put another way, it's 2,810 years to get your food. In other words, the people who existed 800 years before Jesus walked on the earth, if they had submitted an order to this Chuck E. Cheese for food, they would just now, today, be getting that order. So there has been a lot of human history that has occurred in the time since the order was placed to now. And so let me just say that again. If you place the order 800 years before Jesus walked the earth for this Chuck E. Cheese pizza, your order is now ready. You can please come and pick it up at the counter. If you're still watching this video, I love you more than I love doing unnecessary math, which is to say I love you a whole lot. Thank you so much for watching. Man, it has been a crazy, just personally, I don't know that anybody's even going to watch this part of the video. The last couple weeks at my actual job that's not YouTube have been absolutely insane. And I'm so thankful that people are still watching these because it's the only thing there's a fly flying around me right now. It's the fact that anybody is still watching this is the only thing that keeps me motivated to keep making them. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next Friday.